Okay, I bet this one's been eaten up by now. Yeah, pretty much. I should fish on the other side, that way the sun isn't in my eyes as badly. Oh yeah, probably can hear myself. It's a very traditional style bell that we're using wire. So the pack bait goes around the wire bell. And you take the hooks. Ouch. You need more bait than you think. So you make a pretty good packaging around the bell. The longest one is the one I put the cord on. That's used with a second bait. And then you just kind of put the hooks into the pack bait. Now, exactly what is the best way to arrange the hooks, I'm not sure. I'm still figuring that out. Yeah, I'm going to switch to the other side. Because the water is also pushing everything this way. This is another very traditional style for white carp fishing. We have two hooks that you use the pack bait to basically combine. One's placed shorter than the other. I think the short one is supposed to have the bait, and then the long one is kind of tucked into it. I think I've actually never tried this style of setup before, so I'm still learning. All right, I'll get this out there. Oh yeah, I wanted to put this higher up. Ooh, I already started to split it a little. Must have shoved the float in too hard. I want it a little more towards center. Alright, and this gives me a chance to check the chat. Hi, Retirement Days. Hi, Terry B. We are just out doing some carp fishing today. exactly figured out how I'm running these lures and everything. Here, I should probably grab my net. Incoming. How's the stream? Does it look good? Hard for me to tell from here. GoPro says the stream is healthy, but I don't always trust them with that. What it shows me on screen looks good. But that's not always reality. Hmm? Hmm? No, there's still quite a bit there. It wasn't totally dissolved. Alright, I'll check chat in a minute. Maybe it's supposed to go opposite. Yeah, like that. That would make sense, actually. The hook is just covered. So I don't know how quickly this pack bait falls apart, so I'm not quite sure how often to check or change it. Ooh, what are you grilling? Terry's grilling, lucky him. Using a sweet potato flavored pack bait. Alright, well, I'm gonna let that settle. And then then move the net. So it's nearby. And then we'll check the other setup. Oh yeah, needs more. So this is like a lighter version of the bell setup that's used a lot for like big rivers or lakes or bigger ponds, usually off of a spinning reel. So I'm trying it on a fixed line. It's probably not the best. The idea being that the carp come to eat from the bell and then either get attracted to the other bait and eat it too, or swallow one of the hooks from the bell. I've never, okay, look, I've caught one koi from this who actually went after the bell. And then I've caught a few white carp that attacked, what I put on a worm. Put a worm on there and they went after it and ate it. We'll try it. I'm more excited to try putting that on a spinning reel, but it's interesting because it is a lighter version. No, he might be stopping to fish. No, doesn't look like it. No, he's parking all the way down there. Alright, we're gonna bring this off to the side. Whee! Oh, that's good. Catching seaweed. I'm not loving this one. Especially there's people here. I think I'm just gonna switch to one rod. So I think I'm going to use this setup, but the longer rod. There's a lot of people and you are crowded in. It might make more sense to use the shorter rod. But in particular, I'm not sure this rod will take a hit from a large fish. Huh, he's just turning around. I am pretty sure he's local though, because I've seen him a lot. Or that car a lot. We'll put this thing out one more time. It's almost 10. 9:20. So more people should be coming soon. Usually people start showing up around 9:30. So I used to be able to get a lot of fishing time in without anybody around before my kid went to school. But now, you know, nope. I could still, like, I don't know, on a weekend show up super early. But usually on a weekend I got other adventures to do. Part of it being this pond is close to my home. So it's easy, like, oh, I'm gonna go spend an hour or two fishing before work. Oh, hey, that's what I'm doing today. Well, you know what? I haven't had super good luck with carp and corn in here in general. So, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, when people start to show up, I'm gonna move. Train's coming. Yeah, 9:25. Was that me? here, fish. There's something weird with the tip of my rod anyways. Oh, it's twisted. How did that happen? Ooh. That's not good. That would have snapped if I got hit by something big. Ooh, that sun is bright today. Okay. They got 9 of those cars, if I remember correctly. At one point, when I first moved here, I was counting the numbers on the trains. It's being weird. So early on, I was actually counting the numbers on the trains because each one has a number. And I was like, oh, well, how long will it take me to ride all of them? Well, those ones didn't take that long commuting back and forth. And then I took the steam train one time. So that they only have one steam train on this line. And then one time I took the diesel that they had for pulling the cars back. So they were used sometimes, probably once on Saturday and once on Sunday. I think they use them for moving the old Type 50 cars that they have around. Those are the passenger cars that are carried by the steam train. So that's an Oha, 2 Ohas and an Oha-Fu, which like if you're into trains and stuff, those are notable for being the last 3 Series 50 cars that are in their original configuration. So they haven't changed them, they haven't done any mod work, anything like that. They're just in the original configuration. No air conditioner. So since I was pulled by the D10 and the C12 that they have, I guess I could argue that I have been on every single one of their engines that's in full operation. The Ds and the 70 series they have are not in full operation. Although I took Lily on the 70 series, the old 700 series that they have. They literally just ride it around the yard, and they put kids on like the caboose or the pusher that they have. Push them around like, wee, yeah, it's kind of fun. All right. Let's switch some stuff around. Do, 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 do. Oh, all but one of the corns are done. Okay. That was fun. We gave this a try. I get how it works. It's not really for this type of thing. It's not really for fixed line fishing. It's not where it's supposed to work or supposed to shine. That's okay. We'll put it away. Or we'll take it off for now. We'll put it away later. We'll swap lines. Do. I'm surprised I haven't destroyed that line by now. Actually, the previous one I had, which was the first one for this type of line, it didn't break as so much as it was an operator error on my part. Well, this part was starting to get loose, so that was going to be a problem eventually. And I hooked into a big koi, and I didn't keep good pressure on it, so it came loose. And the carp escaped with my line. I hope eventually the carp got that hook out, because I came back the next day with the net and pole and stuff to try to get it, but I couldn't find the carp with my line attached, or the line. I would have been happier to have found the line like floating in the water or stuck on a rock or something with no fish attached. But I hope the carp got off. All right, is pink loose? Pink is loose. I was right. I lost the cap. That's annoying. I feel like with some rods, just the way the caps are, they're not super tight. I don't love that, but it feels like an eventuality that you're gonna lose it. Okay. So yellow is tight, pink is loose. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's get some bait. Yeah, so actually, is it here? I can show you. Oh, these are just 2 pieces of bait. Okay. Not one together. Alright. That's doable. It's like putty. Let's try putting them even deeper. It's a nice thing, nice quote unquote thing about thin light fishing lines. They just tangle up. See, it's kind of a weird setup, but I've seen so many people here catch lots of funa, white carp. It doesn't seem that ridiculous, but it does look a little bit like a ridiculous setup. Alright, let's keep this out of the sun so it doesn't dry up too quickly. Hmm. 3 meter pole, no, 4 meter pole, 3.5 meter line. Maybe I should have gone differently. Okay, I was worried we were just stuck on the bottom there. All right, chat, I'll check chat. Hi, Stanley, how are you today? Have the sudden desire to have a coffee. Alright, so while we're doing that, I'm going to give everybody a tour of this pond, which is basically a donut. There's the bridge. I'm on an island in the middle. It's all farmland here. It's used a bit for runoff, can be used for fire. They stocked it, and they actually keep it pretty nice. So the island is mowed, obviously. A lot of the sides are mowed. Burnt in that case. So sometimes you get a lot of brush buildup here. It's also pretty shallow here. So I kind of one time, out of curiosity, when the water was low, I basically took a weight and cast out in sea, basically adjusting the float to get an idea. So it's actually fairly shallow along there. And there's basically a deep track. This is kind of the widest deep spot here. Probably actually makes it good for fishing. Water comes in through there, narrows down, becomes kind of a canal, and then back around. This side is really brushy, and there's lots of stuff to get stuck on in there. So it seems like they usually toss the brush in there at some point. There's practically a tree in there at one point. I've nearly pulled it out. Actually, you can see It's still there. So over the summer, I yanked that out while I was fishing. I got wrapped around and I was able to get that part out. I can just see the edge of another big branch in there. You know what, maybe I could get that out with my net. So in here there's supposed to be nishikoi, so koi, derivative of amur koi, which sometimes gets mistaken for common carp, or, well, it's actually technically amur koi. So there's those. There's Japanese, what we call white carp. Oh, now the wind's gonna be not my friend. There's momoka, which are, their English name is, I think a stone moro. So those are the species. Then shrimp, like prawn, I guess. So those are the species that are supposed to be in here. At some point, someone introduced bluegills and bass, which are not supposed to be in here. So if you catch them, you're supposed to kill them. I have not caught one in years, so I think we've probably killed almost all of them, which is good. So this brushy stuff in the spring, actually in the brushy stuff there and by the train station, they get a lot of pheasants in the spring. So you hear the male pheasants. Right now, they are not in here. And it's also hunting season for them, so they probably are a little more cautious right now. They built these platforms for fishing, so the kind of very traditional style of white carp fishing is you're on a platform, kind of like this. You have a decently long but stiff pole. So you basically sit cross-legged like this. You have an arm to rest your pole on, and then you have basically that exact setup I have out there. But by having the arm, you're not tiring your arm out, having to hold out the rod like this the whole time, because you basically attach the weight and basically an arm with a V hook that you put your rod in. So you rest your rod in there and you wait. That way also, your pole length versus your line length, you should be able to lift your pole up, brings your bait right in front of you, put it down, then put in pack bait. I'm using pre-made pack bait because I'm lazy today and I was at the store, so I was like, why not? I'll figure out, mixed pack bait later. Then also they have a net that would be on the left side, and then you'd put most people put their bait right behind their back. So yeah, transfer. Here's your, I think some of them have a holder, and then you put the bait on and then whoop, put it out, put your rod on the support, the V holder, wait either until you think the pack bait has all dissipated or you get a strike. Same thing. It's kind of equipment heavy style of fishing and very specialized. There's a lot of those in Japan where it's specialized for like one type of place, one type of condition, one type of game. Those can be fun, but I don't really do that as much because I sort of more like generalist stuff. So you notice what I'm doing. I've got their same type of rig as them, but I'm putting it on, I guess you'd call like a stiff long bait, fixed line. I don't have the holder, rods. I've got just a very general cheapo net. Some of it's philosophy. Some of it's also I don't want to bust out and spend that much money. Especially when their floats can get crazy expensive. Here's the rules. Man, they've been posted for so long, they're falling apart. I think at one point they had problems with people people put bass in here, and then people basically bass fishing, lures, reels, all of those are not allowed here. If you catch a bluegill or bass, kill it, take it away, don't put it back. Pretty basic stuff. I bet we need more bait. It feels like Play-Doh. Oh yeah, water's turned off and wind is shifted, so maybe it's time to play the other side of the bridge. When I first got here, the water was on, which was pushing... Oh, there's still bait on one. That water was on when I first came here, so that was pushing all of basically everything this way. Use a small amount of bait, just enough to cover the hook. I don't know how. I don't even think the deep parts are that deep here. I'll just watch from shore. Hopefully this doesn't turn into me chasing down my rod. Uh-oh. But I set it too deep. I might have... Yeah. Or do I want them on the bottom? Alright, let me check chat. It is definitely giving me problems with chat. Yeah, no, they're not supposed to be in here. I've actually had a few people put comments on one of my videos. I talk about I caught bass in a pond they're not supposed to be on, and so I just killed it. And it's funny because, like, this was very early. This was like one of my first or second fishing videos. And it didn't get much attention, but sometimes I'll get somebody who somehow finds it or finds a short that's made from it and comment. So I had somebody try to argue, and then he deleted a lot of his comments. I kind of wish I screenshotted them, that the bass was non-native and not invasive to Japan. Well, he didn't say Japan. I think he didn't realize at first that this was in Japan. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of people feel like, yeah, I just kill them all. I mean, they do taste good. Make them into soup. I don't know if I've set it too deep or what's going on here. Did I lose the weight? No, weight's still there. Must be a lot shallower than I thought right there if it's not sinking all the way. Sometimes this pole has some dysfunction. Fortunately, not that bad. Maybe the bait's not heavy enough? There's your pheasant. It's on the other side of the train tracks. Okay. Maybe, just maybe, I didn't put enough bait, and that's the weight problem. Weird. The float's not floating up. No, wait, there's something weird with the weight. Yeah, that is weird. I wonder how that happened. There we go. All right. We can go put our faces in the sun. Wish I had my rod stand. I wonder if it's that way. If it's that way of telling me that it's too light. There's not enough bait. Yeah. All right. Let's go grab more bait. Oops. Do. I mean, that is pretty much out of bait. So I feel like Japan favors lots of many hooked rigs. So you gotta watch your hands. It was free. I picked it up at Dice, so they had a guidebook on ocean fishing. And it's interesting because there's pretty much no rig they show for beginners that has only one hook. Everything's a multi-hooked setup. It's really, they say this is not the best time of year to go out ocean fishing at Ori. Not that I do a lot of ocean fishing, I go out a few times a year. But I've been thinking about going out again. Actually, I was thinking about just bringing the light, cheapy rod I use for ocean fishing to, we're going to Kamakura for a few days later this month. You know, it's, yep, bait didn't weigh enough, but bait weighed too much. I went in the opposite direction. Oh, there's a white carp right there. I'm not sure if you could see it on camera. Oh, is that what the colors are for? As the bait dissipates, the float goes higher up. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, was thinking about that because Kamakura is right by the ocean. Probably the hotel we're staying. Alright, history lesson. So Kamakura was the de facto capital of Japan during the Kamakura shogunate because the shoguns lived there and that was their seat of power. Historically, it's a bit of like a U shape with here's the ocean. So the U shape would be the mountains. And so one thing about it was actually pretty defendable because you'd either have to walk along the beach to get there, come from the ocean, so maritime landing. Japan wasn't a great maritime power at the time, let's be honest, or you'd have to come through one of the 7 mountains in quotation marks. They're big hills, they're small mountains. If they're like that type of stuff, they're not like, oh, we can't see the really tall ones over there, right? You know, they're like the mountains here. They're small, but that did make it more defendable. So if you take that U ring as being the old Kamakura, we're just outside of it. We're past one of the passes. But I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll bring reel, light rod, pack a sabiki or two, you know, something where I don't need bait. Go out, get frustrated, catch not what I'm going for. I don't even know what would be out there at this time of year. Sardines? Shugo? Oh yeah, so that must be how it works, because I can slowly see the floating higher. I'm still figuring what I'm doing. I just bought a rig and the stuff and was like, I'll figure it out as I go. You eat them too. Ooh, you popped a new video recently. Just showed up in my recommended before I opened the chat. Yep, slowly coming up. Now I get it. Oh man, coffee's all the way over there. So the closest place to buy coffee's at the train station. at a vending machine. I didn't bring coins. I don't have bills. Couldn't get a coffee anyways. I don't have small bills. So, if anyone's curious about how preschool works here in Japan, it's pretty cheap, but you're paying for everything with coins and like small bills. So, usually for our kid, paying for lunch and paying for after school is the biggest expense. And those are about, usually keep up under, depending on the length of the month. Last month was short, so it was cheaper. It's usually like 6,000 each, so generally, our kids' preschool, we end up paying out of pocket about 15,000 yen a month, which is about 110 US dollars, which is way cheaper than if I was in the US. Problem is that like you have to pay in exact change, so every month at like the start of the month, you know, all you need to like get up your small bills and coins because, you know, oh, we need you to pay exactly 4,560 for after school in one envelope and exactly 4,260 in another envelope for food. So it's a bunch of envelopes, but because each one has to be the exact amount, it becomes a bit of a pain. Versus if they were like, oh, you owe 15,620, it'd be like, oh, okay, well, here's a 10,000, here's a 5,000, here's a 500, here's a 10, here's a 50, and another 100. I think I said that was the number I gave. So, but instead, it's a bunch of envelopes for each individual thing, and like one of them 560, another one 1,280, for example. So it's just like 4 or 5 envelopes. You're just like, oh my, oh. You can see them going under the surface there. Hit my bait. Hit it. If I remember correctly, they kind of fatten up this time of year, so this is when they're kind of at their fattest. Once it gets warmer in the spring, the males will get into these big groups. I mean, she's in preschool, so they get, what do they get? They get Iroha, Hiragana. They were, so, generally, Japanese names are written in Hiragana. Foreigners' names are written in katakana. So, like, I write my name in katakana. I write Lily's name in katakana. Well, they don't teach them katakana there, so they were kind of a little frustrated with us at first that, like, all of her paperwork and her name was written in katakana and not hiragana. So they went through and changed everything and basically Yamafied it, I guess, would maybe Nipponified it? I don't know what the word would be, but they basically were like, no, we're not doing this. We're Nipponifying your name. Which is actually fine and makes sense, but is sort of one of those weird things where you have 3 alphabets to deal with. Well, 2 alphabets in a kanji system. I think they were doing colors last month. My game camera is actually up on that notch there. There's kind of that notch on that ridge you see behind the greenhouse. My game camera is up on the right side of that. It's frustrating when you see a big one pass through and, you know, the wake, it just goes right past your float. I don't have to be at work until pretty late this afternoon, unfortunately. Although, Stanley, in your defense, I feel like you eat almost anything. You're not picky. Oh, there's a few of them right there. There's, you know, school. So they are starting to school. Those aren't very big ones.